Well, I think a lot about how to build a team, and I think one of the things that's most important about building a team and attracting talent is building a culture of authenticity and transparency. I think, people come to work for other people. And if you're not true to yourself and transparent about what you're trying to achieve, I think it's really hard to build a team that really likes to work in that environment. And I think sometimes that's hard because you want to sell people on maybe the rosiest picture, but the reality is we're all there to solve challenges. And I try to find really sharp people that get excited by finding the challenges, understanding how to move an organization forward, and liking being in that kind of environment. So I try to think a lot about how am I articulating the path forward and being transparent about what I see as both challenges and opportunities in the organization. And usually that ferrets out the folks that are looking for maybe the cushiest job versus the really, I think, exciting environment to be in. It might sound like a cliche, but I think hiring for talent versus the exact experience somebody has is really important. And I try not to spend too much time looking specifically at what somebody's doing in the resume. I think it helps that I have attention deficit disorder and can't really read through an entire resume anyway, because I think it's so much more on how they frame the conversation with you. What are they writing in the emails? What are they saying they want the position or what they like about the position versus which job did they do in the past. And I think back to the first person that took a complete risk on me coming out of college, had zero experience, and we ended up being a great team, me learning a lot from them as a mentor and them getting a ridiculous amount out of me because I was excited about that environment, and it wasn't about whether I had the perfect job before that. I think every organization that any leader walks into, there's things that you were inspired about the organizations and things that are irritating you from day one that you want to change about the culture. I try to spend a lot of time understanding how the organization got to where it is now. What was the environment that built the culture that exists, and what's different about where you see the organization going, and being patient with being able to change that culture. And I think being honest too, again, and transparent with your team, both the folks you're hiring and the people that you've inherited in an organization, about where do you see the direction of the organization. Because I think it becomes very clear over time whether people are aligning. If you're truly transparent and articulating where the organization goes, I think people will gravitate towards that vision over time, and the culture will begin to change. And some folks will leave, and some folks you'll be able to attract folks that are really excited about where the organization's going. This is like every job offer that I have, I think. It's like, okay, so the money's not that great. Here are all the things that you should get excited about. Most people that are in the nonprofit industry, though I think there's lots of people that want to have a good life for themselves, they're not 100% money motivated for the most part. And so they are driven by something else, not just monetary reward. And I think so much of that is the ability to be part of something that is inspiring and unique. And a lot of times we think our organizations are inspiring and unique, but they're really not. And so I think it's finding those unique opportunities that are going to get somebody excited, allow them to do something that they maybe would not have been able to do in another organization, and will ultimately leave them with some kind of capital, probably not true spendable capital at the end of their time with an organization, but something that they can take and build on for for whatever they're doing next, whether it's a bigger role in your organization or whatever's next after the organization. So I think tangible opportunity to make a difference and to be in a role that's truly important, regardless of where that is in the organization, is just really paramount, I think, to attracting good talent. To some extent, I think you have to understand whether they're leaving because they've had such a great opportunity and the type of role that you're offering is one that truly is going to be a stepping stone, or they're leaving because they're not happy and going on to something else. And I think, again, a lot of that has to do with the kind of fit that you're looking for and the transparency. I mean, if you truly are looking for someone to be in a role or with an organization for a long period of time, that takes work, particularly if you're a small organization, because that means you're going to have to constantly be figuring out how do you put that person into an ever-increasing, inspiring role. Otherwise, they should leave. I have conversation almost every week with someone within my organization where I'm asking the question of like, well, maybe you ought to look for another job. You're awesome. Maybe we are expanding beyond where you can be right now within the organization. And so, sometimes it is good that you have a great pipeline of really talented people that can do certain roles and go on and be something else, but also keeping people requires a lot of ingenuity on your part. I've been very lucky that I've had a great set of mentors that over the years I listen really hard to and try to emulate what they've done over their careers. And for me, it's also being thoughtful and really choosing who those mentors are. I have maybe 1,200 people on LinkedIn that I'm supposedly friends with, but really there's probably 2 or 3 people in my career life that have had a huge impact, that have really given me solid advice. And I think stepping back and saying, well, who are those people, and staying in touch with them, which is tough. I mean, everybody is busy and kind of grows apart over time, but for me, it's been kind of keeping this set of mentors and also thinking about how am I providing that to a mentee as well, because I think it's a two-way relationship that really builds over time.